And now, live from Isolation Station in Burbank, California, it's The Plague, week 22 of the Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend show. Tonight, Allison welcomes her guest. He's a comedian and the man Ellen DeGeneres thinks of when angrily dancing to Crazy in Love and summoning Ashma, King of the Nine Hells, and Zoroastrian Demon of Wrath. It's Kevin T. Porter. And he's a comedian who you will always remember on the 21st night of September. It's Demi Adejuyigbe. Tone Zone is here to shake, shake, shake his sillies out and wiggle his waggles away. I'm her husband Daniel saying bring a bucket and a mop for this new best friend. Give me everything you got for your new best friend, Allison Rosen.
Allison Rosen. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison Rosen, Allison's your new best friend.
Hello, my little Santa Claus burgers. That particular carbohydrate was sent in on Patreon. By Lisa Lowry. Hello and welcome to another episode of Allison Rosen is Your New Best Friend. I just botched the beginning because I got so excited by a special thematic carbohydrate that was geared specifically to my guests because they used to host a little show called Gilmore Guys. It's Kevin Porter. Hello.
Hi.
And Demi Adejuyigbe. Hello.
Hello. Emphasis on used to host.
Well, you made it through the series. What more can you do?
That's it.
True.
Exactly. So, now when you say emphasis on used to host, meaning like you want to be known for other things?
Yeah. I was trying to think of a joke answer. I was like, no, that's true.
Well, I feel like you guys are known for plenty of other things, which we'll get into. But when it came time to poll the Patreon people for the carb that I would address everyone as today, there were some Gilmore Guys. You know what? Actually, some of the here, I'm just going to read the other ones that were submitted. There were so many that were submitted, but these are the ones that were specific to you guys. So the aforementioned Santa Claus burger submitted by Lisa Lowry. Someone suggested it's. Morgan suggested that because she said Kevin is now a creamfluencer.
Oh, okay. Oh no.
Hey,
so
it's
you're
spreading.
Hey, thanks to Demi. We'll get into that later, I'm sure.
I need to know what
I
that
don't
is
know
even
that.
about.
You created the term creamfluencer, so that's all you.
I feel like we created it together, Demi.
Okay, I need to know now.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pivoting. I'm abandoning my long and storied career, and I'm pivoting to becoming an ice cream influencer or a creamfluencer. So I'll go to different ice cream shops, take pictures of the ice cream, taste them on Instagram Live, and Haagen-Dazs and Jenny's and Van Leeuwen are going to send me free ice cream because of this. And it's definitely happening, even though it only happened one time at about a month ago because Demi got free ice cream one time, and then he nudged the social media guy at Jenny's to give me some as well, and it worked.
That's great. But now, Demi, you don't consider yourself a creamfluencer?
I'm not. I just don't have what it takes, I don't think.
You have to earn that title.
Yeah.
You have to do the work.
It's stolen valor for me to insist that I am.
I also here's Kevin, this is the challenge for you and me. And I am putting myself in the same category as you, as the like burgeoning fluencer person. The challenge is to make it past the first shipment because Skittles heard that I talked about them early on in the show, and they sent me like a big tote bag in the shape of a Skittles package with a bunch of Skittles inside. But then they were gone after that. And then someone nudged Halo Top's social media person and they sent me stuff, but then that was it. How do you get to be like a go-to?
Did you post and tag?
Yes, but not in a way that I think would make them go, oh yeah, she's what we've been looking for.
Wow. Okay. So
I
you seem to know the difference
question.
already between,
So maybe
how to
I
do
have
this
what
and
it
not.
takes.
Yeah. You just have to apply yourself.
And I'm going to ask Demi, did Kevin do that when it came to the Jenny's ice cream?
I believe he did.
I did. I tagged and posted in the Instagram story, but they did not regram me, and that's okay.
Oof.
I don't know about that. Now,
That's harsh.
Do you think it's thirsty to like go out and buy yourself something from who you want to receive it from, and then tag and post just so they can get a taste?
And then say, hey, thanks to like blah, blah, blah for this free shipment. They'd say, we have no record of this at all. So just like invite yourself to the party and say you were invited, and hopefully no one kicks you out.
Hope for the best.
Can you imagine being blocked by a brand?
Yeah.
Oh, have you been?
No,
I haven't, but I'm like, I can
imagine it.
myself just going after Jenny's and being like, fuck you guys, and then being like, we don't want to deal with this.
Tony, have you ever been blocked by a brand? Oh, hello, Tony Thaxton.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Sometimes this is now the second quarantine episode where I have forgotten to introduce you, which is actually, considering that we're going on like year 600 of this, that's pretty good, but I still feel bad.
It's a good
You
record.
should feel terrible. I hope you don't
Okay.
sleep tonight.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I mean, I don't know.
Damn.
A little harsh? I don't know.
You
It's
guys
just how I
thought he
feel.
was a nice guy.
Not harsh enough. Hey, I never thought Tony was a nice guy.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, so going back to the carbs, Jennifer suggested pizza because it's George Clooney's favorite food, and Demi named his dog Clooney.
I did. He's right here.
Oh, can we
Pizza's
see
his
him?
favorite food?
Apparently.
That sounds... Are you sure it's not Jennifer Lawrence? That feels like not Clooney. His would be like a risotto or something.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
hi, Clooney. You can
Hey,
see,
now.
speaking of Patreon, if you want to see this dog, head to Patreon where you can see the whole video from
The
this
whole
episode.
video is on Patreon?
Yeah, I probably should have mentioned that to you before.
Wow. Oh,
I
no,
would
no,
not have
no.
worn shorts.
You don't have to get consent to record people in California.
Is that true?
No, it's not.
Oh, I was like, why do you know that, Kevin?
I learned the hard way, as I do many things.
I thought, you know what? I just fucked up.
Hey, it's okay. We're all human. We've all made mistakes. And a lot of us have had a lot of time to reflect on those mistakes in quarantine.
Speaking of, I am finding, and I was finding this before, and then it kind of went away, and I'm finding it a little more now, that just like old things that I feel guilty about, or like awkward things or misunderstandings, are just getting so churned up, and I'll sit there and I'm like, why? And it always happens in the kitchen, which makes you wonder, am I always in the kitchen? But why is this like very minor thing from when I was 23 popping into my head? Like, why am I spending this much time on this thing? Like, my brain is just excavating old shit. Are you guys having that too?
I feel like that is the case with me a lot of the time, where it's just sort of like, oh, my memory isn't very strong, aside from in very specific things where it's like, well, this is a shameful thing that I did when I was in like 6th grade. And it's like, well, I think about that every so often. And it's just like, I think in quarantine we have less distraction. So it's just like these thoughts just keep popping back up.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too. Kevin, are you having that?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me though, it's less about past grievances. Although I wonder if any of you share this, where when I think about something that I associate with like shame or guilt, I'll sometimes just like yelp if I'm alone, which sounds insane, but I will just go fuck or something like that, just almost involuntarily, like I'm reliving it again. So I think that happens a little bit. But then also I found like mistakes I make during this time too, or if something happens that like I have guilt or shame associated with it, that's a much harder thing I think to carry because there's so fewer distractions at your disposal. So the kind of coping mechanisms that you would have before just aren't ready and there for you. You can't just, well, I'll go out and drink with my friends and forget about this or something like that. It just kind of stays with you.
Right, like each social interaction, because they're so few, carries the weight of like 10 of them.
Totally.
But the last carb, just because I don't want to leave anyone out, Luke's French fries and Luke Dane's pancakes, and that was from Sarah Ellison. That is a Gilmore Girls reference.
I was about to
Sure.
say, what does the burger have to do with us?
The burger, the Santa Claus burger?
Well, yeah, what
Yeah.
is that?
That was in season 1. He makes a Santa Claus on a burger using a bunch of
Oh.
ketchup and mayo, and it is disgusting looking.
do not recall this at all.
I could
Again, as
say
said, my
anything
memory-
happened.
That's
and
true.
you'd be like, yeah, sure.
As far as I'm concerned, that didn't happen, and you just made it up, and I just have to live with that.
And that's gaslighting. Can I add one more to the list?
Yes.
Demi Adejuyigbe bagels.
Oh, excellent.
That's a carb, right?
Yes, it is.
Surely you've heard that before, Demi, right?
What do you mean, surely I've heard that before?
I don't
Who's
know.
making food puns out of my name?
Who's making puns? All your friends. What's your name? It just feels like it would collide.
Yeah.
When I
Have
say all
you
your friends,
ever
I might
made
just
that
think
pun
about
before?
me. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That might be what I might be projecting here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've never heard that at all.
Well, you're about to start. And then it'll be the kind of
Right.
thing where it's like, were people always calling me this, or am I just more attuned to it now?
People are going to start throwing bagels at me on the street. I'll be like, I didn't ask for this.
It'll be weirdly anti-Semitic and it won't make sense.
Yeah.
And she can say that.
I can say that. That's right.
Where were you going to pivot into, Demi?
Oh, I was going to say I'll become a bagel influencer.
Bagfluencer. Yeah.
Bagel influencer. I don't know.
Absolutely.
So speaking of food puns that are like right there, Daniel and I were just talking on an episode about his last name is Quantz, and he's gonna like strike it rich with his Quantzercise line of exercise tapes. And I
yeah.
was like, I should spread into frozen entrees, and it should be like, so Nibbles McGee is like my alter ego who snacks late at night and undoes the work of Allison Rosen during the
Oh,
day.
yeah. We got all that from context. No need to explain.
Yeah, I know Nibbles.
You know Nibbles. So anyway, I was saying I should do like a Nibbles McGee frozen entrees. And then Tony was like, if I may, why not frozen? Like small
Okay.
F, capital Rosen. And then I was like, or what about frozen Rosens? Like Famous Amos or Wetzel Pretzel?
I think Frozen
Rosen.
Rosens is the one.
I would flip it around, just like Rosen's Frozens.
Oh.
They're both so good, but here's the thing. I've been cold many times in my life. Not just when I lived in New York, but especially when I lived in New York, which I like to mention that I lived in New York.
I thought
How
you meant
come-
you treated people coldly.
Oh, yes, that too. And I've also been like withdrawn
Right.
and
now you can reflect on it in quarantine.
and frigid, both sexually and emotionally and temperature-wise.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
not really. Not really. I'm a warm, passionate lady. Here's my
That's
question.
too much information.
Hey, we got the
ready to
drops
go.
coming through. Yay.
Who is that?
That's Joe Quazala.
I love it. So how is it that my entire life of having been cold, I've never referred to myself as a frozen Rosen?
Sometimes the ones that are just there are the ones that either people avoid because, like, oh, I'm sure they've heard that before, or it's just like, it's too simple so it doesn't come to you.
I guess, yeah, but I mean, it's so
To
good.
me, it feels like a rom-com where it's like it's been in front of you the whole time, like a best friend that you've been
Yes.
chummy with for years
Oh,
and
I thought you
years.
meant
Yes.
the title sounds like a rom-com. I was like,
No, maybe an animated rom-com.
it's like Encino
Like Disney.
Man.
But in my rom-com, I will leave my husband in order to pursue Frozen Rosen or Rosen
Right,
Frozen.
which is what we actually. I'm glad Daniel's not here because we did have something to talk to you about today.
is it this?
Demi and Tony and I were texting before the show, and we have some concerns about kind of the direction the marriage is going, especially right now.
Oh, I'm all ears. Tell me. Can I tell you the point that we have gotten to in our relationship? You know, at the beginning of a relationship, when someone like says something and you don't quite hear it and you're like, what? And they're like, oh, nothing. If it wasn't important enough to repeat, like, oh, nothing. And you're like, no, tell me. What? The other day, I said something and Daniel said, what? And I said, oh, never mind. And he just stared straight ahead. Like, he's like, great. all the more time for me to not listen to you.
That's intimacy, though.
Yeah, that sounds like
Right.
comfort. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's honesty.
It is, but there was no like I hang on every precious word that falls out of your mouth. There's none of that anymore. But I mean, there hasn't been any of that for years.
Well, did you really want to get out? what
No,
you-
I don't even know what I had said. If I had really wanted to, I would have forced him to listen. So I'm
you're
just
good.
saying there's not even the pretense of like really being into what the other one's saying.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's fine. That's that's fine. Okay.
It'd be funny if all three of us zoned out and just started staring into the distance right now.
So lots of stuff to get into. Demi, you just had a birthday, right? Because I
did.
know this because speaking of Demi associated carbs, didn't you write his entire full name on some cupcakes, Kevin?
I did, yes. That was actually Demi's friend and roommate, Gabriel Gundecker's idea. Because his Demi's full name equals almost exactly 24 cupcakes. It's 23 characters.
Let me see if I can remember it.
By spelling it?
No, by saying it. It's like Eau de la Demi la do.
It's the right
that's-
amount of syllables. It's
Okay.
like Olawa Demalade.
I think I got it except for I said do instead of day. I mean, I guess not.
You
but
got
I mean,
a lot
I was
of it.
Olowa Deme Day. Now, something I pride myself on because I've had to write it out so much is that, which is a stupid thing to pride myself on. Let me preface that, but I don't have to look up your last name before I write it down, Demi. How it's spelled, I know.
I think that's something to pride yourself on.
I know exactly how it's spelled, but that said, I don't know exactly how to spell your first name, so I did have to refer to your Wikipedia for that.
I don't know why I have one.
if someone said to me, Afison Noselen, I would, and then they're like, hey, I almost got it. I would have the exact same reaction you had, Demi. Like, nah, I don't.
Yeah, especially
Well-
because you added a syllable. What were you going to say,
Did I?
Demi?
I would. Well, Allison Rosen is a lot more of a. I don't want to say like common name, but it's like it's the kind of name where if you mess it up, I'd be like, this person might be having a stroke. Versus my name, where it's like I can fully believe that someone has never heard this combination of syllables in their life.
Right.
So I'm like, whatever. You tried.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And was there karaoke involved?
There was.
What'd
They
you guys
surprised
do?
me in the park, and we did socially distanced karaoke. They set up a PA and a mic, and we all just went up there. They put like little plastic baggies on the microphones, and we all kept our masks on and tried to sing through 2 layers of muffled material. It was very fun.
That's so sweet. Was it
It was-
genuine surprise?
Yeah, it was. I mean, like I knew that there was going to be a thing, but I didn't know what it was going to be, so that was nice.
Well, yeah, and I was actually kind of insecure that you might be bummed out because no one made sort of counterfeit plans. Instead, like, hey, should we watch a movie over Zoom? Like no one was planning anything with him. There was no like false plans that, and then it's like, just kidding, we're doing this instead. So Demi, I didn't know if you thought people were just like fully forgot or were ignoring or anything like that.
I was like, if they're not planning something, this fucking sucks. Because I was like, everyone's like deftly not talking about it in a way that I'm like, okay, so they're either definitely planning something and pretending to like not even think about it, or they are just like, I don't know, what does Demi want? If he wants to do something, he'll tell us. And I was like, I mean, either way, I'd be like, whatever. But I was like, yeah, I hope they're planning something.
I know, that'd be such a crummy feeling if we weren't. It was just like, oh yeah, happy birthday, I guess, and yeah, last minute thing. Yeah, I think as a gathering, honestly, and I've done a few we've done different stages of birthday stuff before, I think 4 months into this, but that was the first event I went to where it didn't feel diminished, but it felt enhanced by the pandemic because it was a lot funnier and more fun. Like people belting through muffled masks and just the setup and the weird looks we were getting from other park people. It was really funny and fun. And it felt like it felt like a natural extension of like what Demi enjoys and likes too. So it even though it was like a fun event everyone could participate in, it was also personal to him.
It definitely
That's so
didn't feel
sweet.
like, we'll just pick a thing and do it. It was like, here's a thing that he likes. Let's make an alternative version of it.
Yeah.
I feel like you guys are all, not that it's competition, but like making the most of the quarantine and like going out there and doing it and living your life and being creative and also being somewhat social in a safe way. And it's more like the pandemic is just happening to me.
What do you mean the pandemic is just happening to you?
I'm just like trying to get through it, but there's not much joy. I mean, I have joy with my family, but there's no pictures of me in the outdoors with a mask on, like still going about my business outdoors.
Totally.
Maybe it's just a lack of pictures. I don't know. But
I think
also, I don't do that.
I honestly think. I'm sorry, Demi. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't. You go ahead.
I was going to say I think a lot of that is childless privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part of it. And I don't knock anyone anyone with a family. Obviously, I don't knock anyone with a family. Like I don't hold that against anybody.
Well, thank you. I feel finally accepted.
But especially people that are, hey, yes, no choice but to sin. But I have friends who don't have children that have not left their homes in like 3 months, just out of and they're not even immunocompromised or anything like that. But they don't go to the grocery store or anything. So everyone experiences it.
Depressed or anxious?
I think they might be anxious actually, but I don't think they're depressed. But yeah, I know. I feel like Demi's been pretty good about like picking new stuff to do every couple of weeks and then nailing it and then moving on. Like Demi was painting sometimes on Instagram for like 3 or 4 weeks. And
I gave up doing it on Instagram because I was like, it's starting to become... I was like, I want to paint because I want to figure out some stuff to do that's just for me and doesn't feel like I'm doing it for an audience. And I was like, well, this is just doing it for an audience again. So I just stopped posting them. I was like, oh, here's my things.
I feel like that is really the cross that millennials and Zoomers bear. This thing of like, how do you experience something without feeling the need to or the desire to document it at the same time?
Right.
Yeah, well, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I do feel like the more that I like step away from like doing things publicly but continue to do stuff, the more I'm like, this feels cool and feels definitely like something that I'm doing because I enjoy it and not because I feel like I have to do it for an audience.
I want to tell you guys about Ancestry Health. As a parent, worrying is in your job description. I was worrying long before I was a parent, by the way. But what are the things to worry about? Ancestry Health can help you cross a few things off your list when it comes to your family's inherited health risks. With their most advanced testing technology, next generation sequencing, Ancestry Health is now better at identifying your genetic risk for developing breast cancer and heart issues, as well as many other things. Better decisions for managing your family's health start with knowing your inherited risks with Ancestry Health. Ancestry Health looks at more places in your DNA than 23andMe, giving better odds of determining that you are at a lower genetic risk for some of the most commonly inherited conditions. I love that you can, like in the past, if you wanted this kind of information, it was really expensive and really difficult to access it. You had to go to specialists and you had to, there was all sorts of criteria that you had to qualify for. I love that this is now something that just as a consumer, you can just go get this information. Ancestry Health is FSA, HSA eligible. Contact your plan administrator for more information on eligibility and requirements for reimbursement. Find out what your DNA says about genetic risk with Ancestry Health. Head to my URL at ancestry.com/bestfriend to get your Ancestry Health kit today. That's ancestry.com/bestfriend, ancestry.com/bestfriend. And I also want to talk to you guys about something that I know Tony and I are super into, which is Brooklinen's towels. You know already how I feel about Brooklinen's sheets. They're the only sheets I sleep on. I just take them off my bed, wash them, put them back on. I love them. But now I'm also super into their towels. They have varying levels of plushness. This is the towel of your dreams, waiting to wrap you up. And especially now when we're home so much, you want to be able to take a shower and then you want to wrap yourself in a towel that feels like a hug. I have the most plush. They're like the most, just if a towel can be indulgent, that's this towel. Tony has one that's a little bit thinner that dries faster. But you wanna also get the plush one, right? For your days when you need a plush towel.
Yeah, I'd like get a big old boy.
I believe if that's what they call it.
Yeah.
And then we both, without planning it, we both selected the smoke color, but they have a bunch of colors that all of them will upgrade your bathroom. Brooklinen is the perfect place to find all the comforts for home, including ultra soft towels. They're so confident in their product that everything comes with a lifetime warranty. Use promo code BESTFRIEND for 10% off your first order at brooklinen.com. That's Brooklinen, BROOKLINEN.com, promo code BESTFRIEND. Brooklinen, BROOKLINEN.com, promo code BESTFRIEND. Brooklinen, everything you need to live your most comfortable life. Now, I know we don't normally do a lot of news. We do news enough on the show that I have 2 different songs to intro the segment, and I never give Tony any warning.
Nope. But I'm ready for one of them.
Something newsworthy has happened today. So I think we should discuss it, and I think
Some good news, perhaps.
I think it is some good news. Let's hear one of these songs.
It's the news with Allison. Allison Rosen is your best friend. Breaking news.
That's the one that I prefer. So thank you, Tony. And thank you, Trap Dog, for making all these songs. Biden's VP pick was announced today. It's Kamala Harris. How are you guys feeling about this?
I feel generally resigned to politics right now, in the sense where it's like, nothing's going to happen that I'm like, yes, let's do this. So I'm just sort of like, yeah, okay, that's good. And the same thing with Kamala, where I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of what I expected, and they'll probably beat Trump with that combo. So, cool, let's do this.
Okay, I have a similar attitude about it, because I'm seeing all sorts of tweets that are like, people over, like, I started crying, people, no, this is not me saying this, is like tweets of people saying they're crying, and like they're feeling hope for the first time, and I have more of a Demi-tude about it, of like, okay. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's because in my heart of hearts, I feel like if he had chosen Elizabeth Warren, I would have been like jumping up and down. And I don't even know if that's fair. She was my pick from the beginning for president. I don't know, but I am excited about Kamala Harris, but I feel a little bit numb in general, I guess.
Yeah, I feel very much numb about it all, but I described it this way a few, I guess, months now ago, where it's just sort of like, it feels like there was a spill and we had a chance to fix the pipe that was leaking, and now we're just sort of trying to be like, all right, well, let's mop up the mess it made. And it's like, well, this is like we're moving towards a place where it's like we're doing like a very small step for a very big problem. So I'm just sort of like, well, I can't really get excited about it anymore, but I am just like, yeah, this is
right,
good enough. I don't know. What were you going to say,
yeah.
Kevin?
I think, kind of concurring with the shared disillusionment that both of you have, where even if it was Bernie or someone a lot more ideal that aligned with my views or what I would want from the president, I would still have disillusionment about it, because I feel like, I feel like the thing that's just become so abundantly clear in the last couple of months is that none of these people serving your public interest truly care whether you live or die, and that the disappointment has absolutely transcended any party line. And there's definitely people who are more reckless or more flagrantly reckless than others, but Eric Garcetti, to a large degree, doesn't care whether you live or die. And he was supposed to, he was supposed to be the model mayor, and he was even considering a presidential bid. So the idea of the Biden Kamala stuff, it's whatever wins and whatever is the vote against people who truly kind of want to kill you or want to kill a population.
Like, these are the choices: someone who doesn't care whether you live or die, or someone who wants you to die.
Yeah,
right.
that might be the dichotomy, truly. Someone
Right.
who cares about the USPS and someone that wants to murder the USPS. That's
Yeah.
and so I'm happy and enthusiastic to vote against that. But I feel like the stanification of American politics, and especially federal politics and the notorious RBG stuff. And even when Joe Biden was a meme where he's like the cool uncle that eats ice cream and has sunglasses on, and the way people worshipped Obama and the way that the people I don't think any of us are friends with worship the current president, I think is a net negative for how American policy is done.
Mm-hmm. That being said, his tweet where he announced that he would pick her, and I don't have it in front of me, but what he said about, like, you know, to elevate the working class and, you know, protect. Together they took on the big banks and they worked to elevate the working class and protect women and children from abuse. And I was thinking, like, it is really nice to have these values valued.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's
no,
nice
I fully know what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, to even see that those are the values that are being upheld is refreshing after what's been happening. And I think maybe I am a little more hopeful about a Biden-Harris presidency and what they might accomplish than it sounds like you are, Kevin. But I still, like, it's hard to. I think that we all had. Well, I can't speak for everyone, but I certainly had my hopes up so much in 2016, and then after that, I'm just like, I'm wary. Mm-hmm. Even though I feel like we're almost coming up for air, like we're about to be done with this nightmare, God willing. So I don't know.
Maybe, but we thought that in 2016, beyond a shadow of a doubt, too, where it's like, oh, it's over. Like, it's not even a question. Like, there feels like no solid ground to be certain of. Truly, the only thing you can be certain of is like, oh, Nazis don't love this. Right?
That's
like,
something.
Like, you can take stock in that, and beyond that, TBD.
Yeah. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, I feel good. I feel okay with it, but like I kind of like with what Kevin was saying, though. I've kind of always just had a very strong dislike for almost all politicians and kind of politics in general. But it's kind of just a necessary evil, at least at this point. And you know, I feel like it's at least a step in the right direction, and that's all. Unfortunately, I feel like that's all we can really ask for right now. Mm-hmm. So
if it's interesting to hear that you guys are all feeling not overly, like, not crazy enthusiastic in the same way, there's calm about it in the same way that I am. Because like I said, I got the sense of like, what's wrong with me that I'm not experiencing this elation that so many people I follow, women especially on Twitter, are. So
yeah, I think it's like as positive as it can be for me.
Right. There's plenty of people. Yeah. I mean, now that I think about it, there's plenty of people he could have picked where I would have felt like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of who, like Tim Kaine.
Amy Kuby.
Well, she took herself out of the running a while ago.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so speaking of women who are known to be not great bosses, like Amy Kuby.
Oh, boy.
Well, if you're not known for Gilmore Guys, it's going to be this.
This? Oh, man.
Do you not want to be known for this?
Oh, I'm fine with that. I mean, I feel complicated if, like, the accomplishment is tearing down someone else's accomplishment. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, so let's get into it. And I'm sure that there's people listening who are like, what are you guys talking about? Then they're frustrated right now. So let's explain. I'm sure they're aware of all the articles about Ellen right now, talking about there's an investigation going on over there now, and talking about the toxic culture and that she has presented herself as being so nice, but really she's not nice behind the scenes. And that was a rumor that was rumored for a while, but it was just sort of like an inside Hollywood rumor. And I remember actually hearing it and thinking like, oh man, what a bummer. She seems like such a silly, pleasant, jovial lady. Like I bought in. But anyway, in most of the articles about it, they mention our own Kevin T. Porter and now you take over.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm hosting this show now. Kevin is your new best friend. I started tweet thread back in March just asking for mean stories about Ellen being mean to regular people in exchange for donations to the LA Food Bank. This is it was in March, so it was about a couple weeks into the pandemic. So sheer boredom and people like Demi and other friends of mine were already doing cool stuff for charity and kind of stunty fun things. So I was like, how can I do it? I was like, I don't know, just crap on Ellen on Twitter. Which, it was one of those things again where I thought, this will be fun for our friends and for comedy writer people, where that's what you exchange stories about in writers' rooms, and just something that everyone fully knows but doesn't ever say anything substantive publicly about. And so I started, and it got more popular than I thought it would, and more people responded to it than I thought would. And so I shut off donations after like the second day. But then it led to, then Ellen just had, I'm trying to think of, you know how like in Dick Van Dyke when he like trips over the ottoman and then he trips over, it's like Ellen, it keeps tripping over stuff with PR, where there was that thread, which is like, who cares? It's just nonsense on Twitter. But then there was legitimate stories of her not communicating or paying her staff well during the pandemic. Then there were other stories of people coming on as guests and being mistreated. And then there was, what really broke it was the reporting that Christy Gandoli did over at BuzzFeed. And she's the one that spoke to a bunch of Ellen employees and former employees off the record.
36, I think.
Oh, yeah, and so many more that she hasn't even, like, published stories on yet, or wasn't able to, like, verify to the integrity that they need to publish that stuff. But it was really her reporting that kind of broke it into this thing where now Katy Perry's defending Ellen, Diane Keaton's defending Ellen, Portia de Rossi saying it was a bot attack. But yeah, so I feel like it was kind of a link in that inevitable chain that would happen. But the BuzzFeed stuff was the stuff where it's like, oh, this is actually going to maybe affect things. But
you're still name checked and all that. And you actually wrote something for the Washington Post, right?
Yeah, the Washington Post asked me to write an op-ed kind of about her brand as it pertains to kindness and whatnot, because she's the host in daytime TV that always signs off with be kind to each other, be kind to one another. She has a subscription box you can get called the Be Kind box, where for $54.99 a month you can get Be Kind products, and it's like products that benefit charities. But anyway, it's like so fully her brand in a way that's not for other people. And so I wrote a piece kind of interrogating the distance between the perceived brand and the reality of the person, which exists for everyone. Like, everyone kind of has to pretend to be a nice, kind person. Everyone in late night is kind of a nice guy now, or needs to pretend to be to a degree. But I think with hers, because it was so specifically that and so loudly that, was the interesting part of that.
And also so, I would say, so convincingly that. For a long time.
To a degree. I feel like if you really watch the show the last few years, though, you can kind of get Dave Letterman in the last stages of the Late Show vibes, where this person is a millionaire, they're checked out, they're showing up to read stuff and leaving. Right. Because even like the George W. Bush thing last year, or the Dakota Johnson interview that got memeified a bunch, I feel like those were also like links in that chain of, oh, this isn't what is.
Yeah, I actually very rarely watch her show. So I'm trying to think where have I formed this opinion of her. I think it's from seeing her. It's like from someone who is not paying much attention but just has a general sense of her. Like, oh yeah, she's nice. She's funny and nice, you know.
Right, because that's been the brand. And people who share stories that she features on her show, it's always some viral, like a dog saved a cat and then they got married or something like that. Or like a little kid befriended an elephant and now they're mom and dad or whatever. I know. No, that one deserves to be shouted out, actually.
So, Kevin, how do you feel being associated with all of this?
I have mixed feelings about it, because I don't want to have the Schadenfreude of like, yeah, take her down, let's get her, you know. And especially like, I also feel the pain of people that felt really seen and known by her stuff and kind of the groundbreaking stuff she did on her TV show and coming out the way that she did. And you don't want to cause anyone any more pain, but at the same time, you also want workplaces to be equitable and fair, and it going beyond just like, oh, Ellen's kind of rude or yells at interns, but like sexual harassment stuff, and,
right?
And
but
a lot of different.
that wasn't her, right? That was
that was an EP, yeah, and it's just basic. So it's kind of like a patient zero of, okay, what is the culture of television industry,
right?
And what is the culture of staffs that get this way, and who has oversight to what? So, if it contributes to a better workplace or a more fair workplace for people, I think that's great. But the kind of like drag her, take her down stuff, I'm whatever on there. It was like fun. I think the most fun of it was like that first week of the thread when it still just kind of felt like our people, you know what I mean? But then I just remember this. I looked it up, but like I got a DM from her sister-in-law saying stop bullying her, which I thought was very funny.
Wait, her sister-in-law, Portia de Rossi's sister, or
her brother's wife? Yeah.
Got it.
And she said, stop bullying her, do something that, or I forget exactly what it said, but it's odd,
Did you write
I
back?
don't know. No, I didn't write back. No, I try not to troll people. And again, like, it's not like I want to be the guy who took Ellen, and not even that's more BuzzFeed than me, but just.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a complicated thing to be associated with, I think.
Yeah.
It's not all good and it's not all bad, I guess.
Right. It's interesting. I've just been, you know what I was thinking about today? I've just been thinking about the power of press, and sometimes the way press can just like be the thing that pours grease on a fire. Specifically, what I was thinking about was, Alison Roman, the disgraced New York Times cookbook author, who
your typo twin.
Yes. And so it always amuses me when I get hate intended for her, though, because it feels like it's like a get out of jail free card for me. It's like, oh, this is not mine. But I was thinking the thing that brought her down was she gave an interview to a magazine or a website or something, and that's where all these problematic quotes came from. And I was thinking, like, I wonder how the writer of that piece, the interviewer, feels, because it was actually a pretty positive. I think the intention was it was a positive piece. It wasn't intended to be a hit piece or a takedown piece. And then it's like she agreed to this interview. I'm not forgiving anyone anything, but like she agreed to this interview, and it totally fucked up her life. And as someone who used to work for magazines, and who has encountered people who hate the press and distrust the press and stuff, it kind of makes you go like, oh, I see where they're coming from. Like, how, in general, like, how much does that help? And then I guess the thread being, Kevin, every time you're mentioned in these stories about Ellen, in a sense, it's kind of cool because it's like you're getting mentioned in these, big publications, but it's also like got this double-edged sword for you.
Yeah, I mean, truly, the best part of it is, I think, people I really admire started following me for the first time, like Julie Klausner, Karen Kilgariff, who used to work on Ellen, like awesome people like that. But yeah, because, and it's even a little bit removed from the Alison Roman thing, where it's like, oh, that was ostensibly a journalist or a writer who is formally doing a thing where, oh, I'm presenting this subject, Alison Roman. Okay, what's the responsibility here? What are the standards I need to meet? And mine is just nonsense. Like, it's just like a conversation you would have in the car with a friend, maybe while getting coffee as a comedian.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean, where it's like the thing that can present itself as value neutral actually being weaponized against you. Mm-hmm. And I guess that's why it's important to like hire good people and different kinds of people for those sort of positions, so people know fully the kind of context they're giving, whether they're aware of it or not. Right.
Well, when I was working for various magazines, whenever I would encounter someone who was distrustful or who was like, what's your angle? Or I don't know, just like overly nervous about it, it always rubbed me the wrong way because I always took it personally. I always took it like, why don't you trust me? Like, you can trust me. But now they were probably, I think I always was trustworthy, but I get where they don't know me personally. They're just like, this is a magazine.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to turn this question kind of to Demi as someone who's had a number of like profiles written about him for like different publications. Like,
I was just reading one by Brian Raftery from
Yeah, The Ringer.
2019
Yeah.
saying that you were like, didn't it say he's like the funniest guy on the internet?
Yeah, although I think it had the lead for now attached to it.
It had a very ominous for now that suggested
For
he was going to
now.
murder me.
Yeah, so like when you are in a position like that where, because you talked to him a few times, and I was interviewed for that too, just to like kind of give some context or some quotes about Demi, and the guy was a very amiable guy, but it's still someone that you are entrusting to give you or like your work a certain context. Like, what is it like to go through that process? Like, how little or how much are you trusting of a person in that situation?
It sort of feels like, I'm trying to think of even how I thought about the concept of like trusting him in that moment, because it felt like there were so many things where I think my base thought was like, I don't think that it was necessarily I distrust him or I trust him as much as I am just sort of like, I can only do the best to get my own idea across of what I'm doing, and if he just like hooks into a specific thing I say and like realizes there's a different angle, I just have to accept it. And I think that comes with, honestly, just from years of doing Gilmore Guys. It's like you can't really control your intention in saying a certain thing and then having the audience or other people be like, oh, I really interpreted it in this way. So it's just sort of like, I was just doing my best to be like, here's all the things that I am doing and here's all the things that I think. And if he uncovers some angle of what I was saying that I wasn't necessarily meaning to put out there, then I just got to reckon with that. But I also feel like I have the advantage of not being super famous or the kind of person to where it's like people want to interpret things that I'm saying in a way where it's like, oh, that piece of shit just thinks they're better than us because blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I think that the more famous or like knowledge or like well known you become, the more people will willfully want to interpret things that you're saying in a negative sense.
Yes. Yes, and I think that the more famous you are, then people are projecting their own stuff onto you about their
Right.
ideas of fame and all that kind of stuff. Whereas maybe there's more goodwill built up when you're not yet a household name.
Totally.
Yeah,
When
people
it's
just
like-
invent narratives about you.
Yeah. But when you're someone who they're like, oh, I know about this guy and a lot of people don't yet, you get a goodwill that also feels unfair. Like, it feels like you don't ever fit in this, like, perfect line where people are like, I'm just going to see, like, just take it at face value. It's either you're given goodwill or you are not given goodwill, which is a very weird axis of, like, celebrity that I don't understand and feel very much like, well, I don't want to do this.
Demi, I didn't know that you had written a musical about the IKEA monkey.
Oh, yeah. I wrote the musical as a fun live bit to do at a show once, and then I just had so much fun tinkering with it and, like, sort of blowing it out that I've been doing it every so often whenever I'm asked to do a bit at a show. But it's like, it's a very fun thing that I've done, but I've done it for so long now that I'm just sort of like, I really need more live bits, but it just feels like, oh, not too many people have seen this yet, even though I've been doing it for a while. So it's like, I don't know, just a fun thing I wrote based on, I think it's very funny to make a big deal out of a small thing. So I thought, here's a thing that everyone was obsessed with for like 3 days. What if I made a musical about this event that a lot of people sort of are like, oh yeah, I guess I remember that happened. And
Yeah, that you were quoted as saying something like, you just think it's really funny, the idea of a bunch of people treating this like absurd, momentary thing as like taking it very seriously.
Yes.
Which I agree is hilarious.
Yeah. It's fun to write.
It's a great piece. I
Kevin.
think a big part of it is it's funny how good it is, if that makes sense, that much effort is put into such like a small, like when it's presented as like, here's another thing. And it's quite operatic for where it exists usually when Demi performs it.
Demi, I know that we must have covered this when you came on the Monday show, but remind me where you learned music.
even you saying learn music, I'm like, I don't feel like I did. But I would like teach myself to play specific songs on the piano in like during lunches in 4th grade. And then like we got a Casio keyboard when I was young that I would fiddle with. And then eventually it was just sort of me being like, I like tinkering with this stuff. How can I do it digitally if I am not committed to actually like taking lessons for any music? So I like just figured out how to use Logic Pro and was like, okay, well, I can hook this up to a keyboard and just play the little notes, then move it to where it's supposed to be. And it's just a lot of like me learning a little bit of stuff and then modifying it digitally, or like learning just enough to make a specific piece of music, but not much more.
That's impressive that you taught yourself all that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like, I get why it's impressive, but I'm also like, hey, with computers and the internet, anyone can do anything nowadays. I feel very much like it's not that impressive, but thank you.
I can't do Photoshop. I feel like I should be able to. That is, I was thinking about this.
I can't do it either.
That's
Why do you
like
think you can't?
Well, I can answer for me.
Are you Americans do Photoshop or Americans do Photoshop?
I am American.
Okay.
I'm Emmanuel Kant. That's my philosophy with Photoshop.
Well done.
Thank you. I feel like I could watch YouTube videos or look at a book. So I feel like I could, but
I think you just need it for specific tests. Just to like learn it all is daunting. But if it's like, I need to put this head on this giraffe's body or whatever, and then you have to look that up, or like, I need to change the tint, but just for this layer, then you have to look that up. I think you get to know the tools through that. I feel like
it's like I lack the patience to learn, and yet I feel like my life would be so much simpler if I knew how. Daniel does. He knows it well. So I can ask him to do stuff for me, but I just would love to be able to do it on my own.
The way that Kevin described it, though, is exactly how I learned. It's like, I feel like everything I've learned has just been like, well, I want to do this specific thing, and then I'm like, oh, I could probably do that to do this, too, and then eventually you just are like, I know enough to confidently be like, if someone was like, can you do this? I'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. But it doesn't feel like you ever sit down and learn as much as I'm just like scrubbing through a YouTube tutorial on like, how to change the color in Photoshop. I'm like, okay, got it. And then I just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm trying to figure out how to do something, that is how I learn. I usually just Google it, but for some reason, Photoshop feels overwhelming. Tony, same for you?
Yeah, well, part of the problem too is that I don't have it, and it's so expensive to get. So, like, I don't want to buy it and then never use it, and
totally.
Yeah, I feel like I could learn the little bits, but yeah, I just haven't like been in a scenario where I've really had a chance to.
I do the cloud subscription. Is that what you do, Demi?
That's what I do, yeah. But as a kid, when I was learning it, I just pirated it, and then later on, I was like, well, I can afford it now. I'll just get the subscription.
I don't think I knew they were doing a subscription.
So children out there, pirate only until you can afford it.
That's right.
No, not a day after.
Listen, whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what your roommates or neighbors or significant others are listening to. Everyone needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, but before you drop hundreds of dollars on a pair, check out wireless earbuds from Raycon. You already know Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and that they sound just as amazing as other top audio brands you know. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. Raycon's wireless earbuds are so comfortable, they're perfect for conference calls or binging podcasts. Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet, with no dangling wires or stems to distract anyone during video calls. They're also super duper comfortable. The company was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Brandy, Allison Rosen are obsessed with Raycons. Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/bestfriend. That's buyraycon.com/bestfriend for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. Buy Raycon, BUYRAYCON.com/bestfriend. Okay. Oh my goodness. Whose face did we just see behind you, Kevin?
Oh, that was Mr. John Travolta in Hairspray.
recognize?
An abominable performance.
Who was that before him?
Which one? This
It was
guy?
a black and white photo of someone.
Is that Bo Bridges?
Oh, her?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my friend Sarah. I just took that picture. I really like it a lot.
She looks like
And
a model.
that's Wishbone. That's Wishbone as Robin Hood.
Aw.
Just another angle of Wishbone as Robin Hood.
Is Wishbone a famous dog?
Oh,
yeah.
so famous.
Tony,
Celeb.
do you know Wishbone, the celebrity dog that we're now looking at pictures of behind Kevin?
I do not.
Wait, you both don't know Wishbone?
No, but we're the two old
gang.
people, though.
That's
Right.
right.
Oh, no.
I feel like Wishbone was like tail end of my childhood, though. It's like, oh, Wishbone was going out as I was growing up. I don't know.
I was in the sweet spot for Wishbone. I actually owned a Wishbone plush toy that you could squeeze his little ear and he would say fun things about literature.
Wow. Oh, wait. Was Wishbone a dog that's supposed to inspire you to read?
Yeah.
Okay. It's still very vague.
You
The
know
Tell me
what?
curious
more
choice
about-
is the dog itself could not read.
I know. And in that sense, it was a hypocrite.
So where did Wishbone air? Or
No.
where did...
Yes.
It was on the public broadcasting service. Service? Syndicate? What's the S stand
System?
for? System?
Yeah, system.
I think so.
PBS.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Huh.
He would go on little adventures. He would read a book and become the characters in the book. He
love
would be
it.
the little Prince and Pauper. He would be Robin Hood. He would be Midas. It was
Lolita.
awesome. And they are doing a revival, but they're not bringing him back due to his passing.
By the
What's
way,
his
it's
lazy
public-
to me.
What's his real name, Wishbone?
It was Edgar J. Wishbone.
it's public
you guys like-
broadcasting service, by the way. I thought it was
Service.
Service?
Yeah, I thought it was system.
My bad.
No, I thought it. I was there with you.
Service.
Do you remember Ones to Grow On? Was that just my time, Tony? I feel
I
like
don't
you
know
should
Ones to
remember
Grow
Ones
On.
to Grow On. You don't? Okay.
I'm not sure.
It would be on morning television on, I don't know what channel. I want to say NBC, but I could be wrong. And there would be like a little skit or a sketch that had a lesson in it. And there were usually celebs. I don't know if they were from that network or just celebs at the time who were in it. And then they would go, that's one to grow on. Like
sounds
you'd learn
very
not to
familiar.
shoplift, or you'd learn not to let a stranger, abscond with you. You'd learn not to play with matches, and they were all ones to grow on.
It seems vague.
Someone out there.
And it's
Someone out there will remember. Let's do some Just Me or Everyone.
Oh.
It's been a while.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Reminder, if you would like to submit your Just Me or Everyone's, your JMOs, tweet them to @ARIYNBF on Twitter and use the hashtag JMOE. Okay. Jennifer says, there is one item in the kitchen I could never find unless I say out loud, where is the, and then it magically appears. For me, it is vanilla extract. No, I don't have that.
Me
I
neither.
feel as if I'm constantly always looking for things in the kitchen, but I don't have like I can't summon them by asking the question out loud.
Yeah, I'm trying to... I feel like I lose things a lot, and then I'll ask my roommate, and he'll be like, oh, I put it in this place, but it's never like, oh, now I see it because I've said out loud where it is.
Right.
I have so few things, I feel like, and I know where they all are. So this is
Imagine
fully
living-
unrelatable to me.
Imagine living life like that. It must be so nice.
I don't have to imagine. I'm doing it.
Do you never lose your keys? Do you always know where they are?
No, I lose my keys quite a bit. I never lock my keys in, though. I don't do
Okay.
that.
I just
but-
2 days ago, first time ever. I'm usually very good at like knowing where my keys are. I put them in the same place. At time like lock my door immediately, put my keys up, and then the other morning I got up. It was a nice morning. I wanted to open my front door, have the screen door there, and my keys were in the door still all night long.
Oh.
Yeah,
I've done that
before.
overnight, yes.
Yeah,
me too.
Absolutely.
I've done that at the entrance to my building, and then an hour later gone down and they were still there, and I'm like, how did no one steal my keys?
That's nuts, Demi.
Yeah.
If it's to the downstairs of your building.
Yep.
Whoa. Well, it sounds like you got a little guardian angel looking after you.
Sure do.
And that's one to grow on. That's like the kind of thing when they would say it. So, Kevin, you make cookies all the time. I've been seeing the fruits of your cookie labor.
Oh, yes.
Are you ever like, damn it, where's my baking soda?
No, I know exactly where the baking soda is. Second shelf on the right.
Man.
What about
Demi's
your
been
nuts?
baking a lot, too.
Really?
Yeah.
What have you been making?
I've been making a lot of lemon cakes for some reason, but then also orange glazed cinnamon rolls and some chocolate chip marshmallow cookies lately.
And some
Yum.
Adejuyigbe bagels.
And some Adejuyigbe bagels. Those will be next.
Yeah.
Demi, do you know right now? Do you know where your, or do you put orange rind in your?
In the orange glazed cinnamon
cinnamon rolls?
rolls?
Yeah.
Yes. But
you-
the oranges
well,
are
actually-
in a little bowl on top of my, like this white cabinet that I have in my sort of dining area.
I feel like that was a bad one because most people know where their oranges are. Okay, do you know right now where your? Do you have tarragon? Do you know where it is?
If I do know where it is. It would be in the first cabinet on the left in my kitchen, because that's where all the spices are.
All right, looks like everyone's pretty organized. Tony,
Gotta
do you know
stay
where?
organized.
Do you know where your Do you know where your basil is?
Yeah. Yeah. I ballpark where everything is. I may not know like immediately the exact spot, but I at least know the ballpark.
Ballparks are big, though.
I
Well,
know.
Not my
Yeah.
ballpark. You haven't been to my ballpark, baby.
Oh, okay, excuse me. I didn't mean to speak without knowing.
He lives at a little league field.
Yeah.
Allison, do you know where your cornstarch is?
I don't. I know what cabinet it might be in.
Okay.
Okay, now she's hedging her answers a little bit.
It might
Okay.
be in there. Oh, it might be in another cabinet. There's a problem. We have a few cabinets where it's like this cabinet has chicken broth that's been unopened in those like cardboard container things, and it also has a sewing kit, and it also has like vitamins that no one's ever going to take, but they're Daniel's, so I can't throw them out. And it also has tomatoes, and it might have cornstarch. We're just not organized. You know, it's just there's too much. That cabinet is trying to be all things to all people. Okay,
Never
Phil-
works.
Phil Scroggs says, I misheard I want to sell frozen entrees as I want to self-rosen entrees. I mean, I don't know that anyone here heard that besides us, but I feel like you're not the only one. And Phil Scroggs, I owe you I've owed Phil Scroggs an email for a long time now, and it's just gonna be an open letter on this episode. Phil was so kind and sent me a custom background for Zoom for Allison Rosen's Your New Best Friend, because you know how as we've seen with Kevin, you can change your background. And it was so well done. However, because I don't have a green screen, when I tried to use it, it was like a little bit, like see how when Kevin moves, his body disappears? Oh, how cool. Kevin is in front of Demi.
It's a great illustration. Do you like this illustration, Demi?
I do. It's a nice illustration.
Was that
think-
the illustration that was used in the article that called you the funniest guy on the internet for now?
Yes.
Oh my God. And now Kevin and Lady
no.
Gaga are on. So anyway, Phil, the reason I don't use it, because without having a green screen, it's just it becomes a little too wonky if I move around at all. But I appreciate it so much. Thank you. And I'm sorry, I've been meaning to email you. I imagine you must be like, whatever happened to her? Okay. Jonathan Pierce says, I like to make quote-unquote sandwiches using sauces between bread. A1 sauce in particular. Don't at me with butter sandwich opinions, ARIYNBF Nation. So very early on in the show, there was just a running debate about whether 2 pieces of toast with butter on them put together, is that a sandwich or not? What do you guys think?
No.
I think it is.
Oh, I was going to
Really?
say yes.
Wait,
Okay.
two pieces of toast with butter in between?
Yeah.
You need like one? It's just two toast pieces next to each other, right?
That's what I think.
No, I think there's something between them. How's
Yeah.
that any different than peanut butter and jelly?
Because there's peanut butter and jelly.
Well,
Okay,
what if it was
instead
just
of
peanut butter?
it's just butter.
Okay, but peanut butter is not like it's not like a salt or a condiment the way that like butter is, where it's like, oh, put some butter on your toast. You don't just say like put.
You don't just say.
I don't think so. I don't think
Wait,
you,
you don't say put peanut butter on toast? Yes, you do.
but not as much. No, and butter's not. Peanut butter isn't just like something you can easily bake. What you're gonna keep finding examples of ways in which you can do all these things.
Yes, because also, first of all, peanut butter has butter in the name because it's the same thing. It's a spreadable thing that you just put on the damn toast.
But it has its own like caloric nutrition.
So is nutrition the thing that you think defines it as a sandwich?
I think it just needs like heft. Yeah, I just like
You can put a lot of butter on it.
Yeah.
But it's still, but it melts away and then it's not there. Peanut
I
butter
wouldn't
does
say
not
it's a
melt
shitty
away.
sandwich.
It's a what?
I think you could say it's a shitty sandwich, but saying it's not a sandwich at all might be. I'm like, come on.
What if it's not toast? What if it's bread? Then is it a butter sandwich?
I think yes.
I think it's more of a sandwich if it's just bread and butter in between it. Would that taste good? I'm gonna have that tonight.
Yeah, it would
Probably,
just
it's
be bread
just
and butter.
toast.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see that there's still a lot of debate to be had around the topic of butter sandwiches, which was like that's very old school. Allison Rose's your new best friend.
Hey, specific food opinions are a podcast discussion staple. What would we
Exactly.
be if we didn't get pedantic about like the spread versus a butter and what's a butter? It's great.
Another old one was when you're in the shower, do you sometimes face the stream and sometimes have your back to the stream? Which was dubbed being a traveler. I feel like that's the normal way to shower. Or, so Matt Fondelier, who was the one who didn't travel, he would just stand in the shower with his back to the stream, and then when he wanted to rinse off his front, he would just lean back into it. He never faced it. That's unusual, right?
Yeah, I'm like, you gotta
rotate.
face the shower at least once, but
Yeah.
I get like flipping, but
Kevin, you seem like you're listening to something bad or smelling something bad.
I just can't imagine a lifestyle in which you have so much shame you can't even face your own shower head. What happened?
Oh, and he would also... Oh, I forgot about this. When he would get out of the shower, he would wrap a towel around him. But like, you know how generally, like on a TV show, you'll see a guy wrap a towel around his waist, but Matt would wrap it like under his nipples. So it was called, we called it the tummy towel.
Okay.
Where do you guys wrap a towel if you're just doing a single towel?
Waist.
Yeah.
I sometimes do waist, sometimes go under the armpits. I don't know why.
Okay.
There's no like rhythm to it. I think most of the time I'm going waist, but sometimes I'll just be like, sometimes I'll like just wrap it around me like a cloak,
A cloak, yes.
which is not functional in any way. It's just like, I'm cold.
Yeah,
When I was a
it's
kid, I
warmer.
used to use 2 towels.
Whoa,
I was like,
why?
it's a must. I've got to put one around the waist and one around my upper body.
Was that because of temperature or because of shame?
Shame. I lived in Texas. It wasn't because of temperature.
Yeah. You just
We
hated
lived in Texas, not
That's
together,
true.
but separately, but equally.
But you both went to UT, right?
We did.
But not at the same time.
Different
He
times.
was graduating as I was getting there.
And
Two
Jackie
shifts passing
Johnson
the
went there too.
Famously was actually kicked out to make space for me.
Yeah, you know why they kicked him out? Because he was making banana pancakes in lecture
I was
hall.
like, there's one Jack Johnson song you can reference that I'd even get a joke.
Is
Oh,
it
no,
banana
no.
pancakes?
I said Jackie Johnson.
Oh,
Oh.
Jackie Johnson. Oh, I heard Jack Johnson.
I also heard Jack Johnson. I was like, oh, news to me.
Tony,
I'll roll with it.
did I say Jack Johnson?
No, you said Jackie. I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
'cause
you
I
said-
totally
Our
heard
bad.
Jack.
I worried this was a repeat of the time that apparently I said the David Matthews Band, but I feel like I said Dave Matthews, but there is a drop which proves that. Do you have
David
it?
Matthews Band is objectively funnier.
David?
Yeah,
It's
he's
so
getting formal.
weird. I felt like I said Dave Matthews Band and like my mouth betrayed me because I don't ever think I thought David Matthews Band.
David Matthews Band sounds like an orchestra.
Yes.
Lenny Pickett and the David Matthews Band. A cartoon by Robert Smigel.
So, do you guys ever put a sauce between bread to make a sandwich, like A1 sauce?
Like, and that's it?
Yeah.
No.
No,
No,
but I also don't make
absolutely
sandwiches that much.
I don't either. I don't think the
either.
bread is worth it usually.
Yeah.
But I am curious what A1 sauce between bread would taste like. I think it might be good. Okay.
Easy way to find out. It's low cost.
I know.
Don't they make like sandwiches in the UK with like a brown sauce? I
Yes.
wish I could just. I'm like, there's a word for it that I'm totally forgetting, and I just.
The word is strudelpoodle.
I think it's more like like toasty or even more something than that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't think it's
toasty is a
strudel
thing.
poodle?
I don't think it's strudelpoodle somehow.
All right, just because you were born over there, you know it all, huh?
It's not helping me much here.
So there's something called a toasty, like you can order a toasty,
I've heard of a
Yeah.
toasty before, yeah.
and
Or a
it's
toasty.
toast with this brown sauce in it.
I'm pretty sure it's just like any sandwich with 2 pieces of toasted bread.
Oh.
Because I'm like, I know a cheese toasty is just like a grilled cheese.
Hey, well, Google might say a toasty is merely an extension of love, particularly filled with cheese. A cheese toasty. It's basically a grilled cheese sandwich. It's instead of a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
So Chode to Joy says, I like to think I'm a competent adult, but I seriously just realized that Mad Libs is a play on ad libs. I never put that together.
I feel like that's one of those that I every few years relearn, and I'm like, oh yes.
This is my year. It's like Chips Ahoy, the cookies being Ships Ahoy.
I was late to that one too. I was really late to Central Perk from Friends.
Wait, what's that?
Like
I'm
Central
just
Park.
kidding.
I know this is late on this, but just so people can hear it, here you go.
The David Matthews Band.
The David Matthews.
David
Band.
Matthews.
I swear it was like my lips. It was like I was still buffering. Like my lips stuttered when I said it.
It's like
I
your
really-
brain went, well, I don't know him that well. Let's go David.
I guess, but the entire time I was thinking Dave Matthews Band. I don't know.
I mean, I'm always thinking Dave Matthews Band.
I think that's a deep fake. Okay.
Oh.
Leela Rolling Stone says, just mirror everyone, seems like people have forgotten the rules of driving since COVID began. So many people just stopping their cars in the middle of the street to chat with someone, make a crazy U-turn, drive against traffic, etc. I really haven't been on the roads that much. Thankfully, I have not really seen that. What about you guys?
I don't feel like I've seen it, but it was something I was worried was going to happen. Just like, oh, no one's driving, then we'll all drive again at once, and it'll be like, okay, well, there are car crashes on every intersection, but I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen either. I feel like everyone's been okay. I haven't seen. Well, I did see a car literally on fire last night. That was interesting.
Hell yeah.
Was it just on the, where was it? Like on the side of the
It was on the
highway?
side of the road, and yeah, I think the engine exploded. It looked scary, and you could
That's
smell
scary.
it from my car. It was so weird passing by it.
Tone
Sounds
Zone, have you
badass to
seen-
me.
Have you ever seen a tree on fire, like in a lightning storm?
Oh, God, no. That would terrify me.
My parents had a tree in their backyard just struck by lightning recently, and it fried a ton of things in their house. They had to get all kinds of new appliances and stuff.
Oh my
How
god!
do you not just feel like that's just biblical? That's just God being like, you need to move.
I told you guys. See, it's real. It's all real.
Wait, the lightning fried a bunch of or the tree being zapped?
The tree being zapped, yeah, it ended up then frying a bunch of stuff in the house. Which
How?
I know
Did it,
now
like,
that I'm saying
hit
that out
a-
loud, I'm like, wait, there must be an element to it that I'm forgetting now. But
Like electrical lines or something?
I guess so. Yeah, I'm spacing at the moment. I brought it up, and now I can't really deliver the story very well. You're welcome.
It's good. It's a mystery. It'll leave me with something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, another bread-related JMO. Vince Vicari says, I never eat the heels of bread, yet I never discard them right away. I leave them in the bag like a pair of bookends until I've finished the rest of the bread, and then I throw the heels away.
Yep, I do that.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Usually.
I just so seldom buy bread, though.
Same.
Yeah.
I never buy bread. And then lastly, penultimately, Chode to Joy also says, tapas bar and topless bar sound way too similar. How do we fix this super important problem?
Abolish tapas. And nudity.
I think we either just call them nude bars or we call them appetizers. We got to pick one.
I love it.
We came to the right place to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, Megan says, whenever someone says no worries, I am pretty sure it means worries. No worries, even though I don't really endorse this or embrace it. No worries is like my go-to. How many times do I say no worries in texts and emails, Tony? All the time.
I guess I've never really thought about it, but like it doesn't even like register. Like I don't think like what she's saying. I don't take it as worry.
Yeah.
And is that why they call you the new NWA? No worries, Allison.
Yes, that is exactly why.
Okay,
I'm
just
glad.
wanted to make sure.
I'm glad it's making the rounds.
I feel like I say no sweat a lot, but it's just like whenever I say no worries, no sweat, no problem, I'm always just like, I mean it. Please don't worry. I do not.
I specifically associate no sweat with you, Demi. I feel like I don't know anyone else who says no sweat.
I don't know why I've always, I think, said no sweat, but yeah, I'm like, yeah, if I say that, it's not like that's code for worry. It's like I truly, I'm stressed out at the thought that you are worried. So I'm trying to assuage you and be like, no, it's not a problem for me.
And you're a man who enjoys sweating. We were dancing it up at your outdoor karaoke thing, and there was
Keith's
sweat. Yes.
I
you love
CNC
Keith's
Music
sweat.
Factory. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All sorts of sweat.
I feel like I might adopt no sweat just on the days where I'm tired of no worries.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you want me to give you a little attribution?
Soul credit.
No sweat. It's all you.
Hey.
There you go. You guys, this has been fun. Thank
has
you.
been.
I thought you were going to say something else. It was just dead silence.
Yeah, it feels like we were just like, sure.
Was it? Are you sure?
I am announcing that it has been fun. I don't even need you to agree.
Hey,
Enough.
5-year
Unilaterally
reunion
fun.
on this show. How about that? Do you remember that?
No, what?
The last time we were on this show together was 5 years ago.
For
Who
real?
was it?
Yeah, together.
Wow.
Yes. Right?
Wow.
2015.
That might
I
be
mean,
right.
I'll have to take your word for it. I don't have any semblance of time anymore.
I
That
think I'm
might be
right.
right because you guys came on together. I did Gilmore
Yes.
Guys, and then you guys came on my show together. And then I've had you each on a Monday show, and I've had you each on Thursday shows separately. Although I haven't had Demi in a while because, full disclosure, so you guys were supposed to come on together at the very beginning of quarantine. And I checked in with both of you. I'm like, hey, are you still available? And Demi said what I have wanted to say for months now, which is I'm not super into doing remotes. I feel weird about them. So I'm like, oh, no worries. And then I circled back with you, and I'm like, do you still feel this way? And you said you forgot that you had said that to me.
I've just been like doing so many remotes now since there's no other options, and I feel very much like it's always like an easy favor to do if someone's like, will you do my podcast? I'm like, yeah, whatever. Then I'm just sort of like, I guess this is the new way of the world, so I'll just
I know.
It's
that's
like
that's how I feel. Like I was very opposed to it before, and now I just like I guess this is what we're doing.
Do you think it'll ever get to a point for any of us where we'll say to someone, do you mind doing it in person? And they'll say, I'd rather be at home when I do it. Do you think it'll ever get to that point?
Yes. I don't know that they'll actually say it, but I think they might not be that direct about it. But I do actually wonder about that. Like now that this has made us all realize we can do this, I wonder are once we're able to do in person again, will the expectation be that we can still do them all remotely?
Yeah.
I feel like once we can do in-person stuff again, I would feel a lot more comfortable just being like, I don't really like doing this from my home because A, it feels like I'm working in the same area that I am like relaxing, but B, because I'm so easily distracted that it's like, if I'm not being forced to engage in a conversation, I will slowly just drift away. And then it's like, someone will be like, oh, what do you think? I'll be like, oh, I was not paying attention. I'm sorry, I saw a bug.
You know, and you know, Demi and I and our friends like talking about like what's going to happen to movies because that was just such a ritual for us when we could go to movies. What's going to happen to movies? What's going to happen to movie theaters? My new take now is that movie theaters are going to explode with business post-lockdown.
Oh, probably.
No one will want to do Netflix and chill or Hulu and hang. Everyone's going to be like, get me the heck out of here. And they'll do record business. Like whatever the first summer is where it's safe, if it's next year or the year after, it'll be a record summer.
Yeah. The restaurant reopenings have shown me that people will just be like, I don't care, let's go. Let's go see Dougal or whatever is playing in theaters.
I would kill to see Dougal, dude.
Norm of the North, come on, let's go.
Yeah. You know, I've never been to a drive-in, and I was thinking maybe I should just go to a drive-in. And if I were to go, I wouldn't really care what's playing. It's just about going.
I've been a few times, and it's like, it's very fun. It doesn't feel the same as being in a movie theater, but it does feel like it's the best you can do, and it's nice.
Demi and I went together a couple months ago and had a great time. I thought, except I got a little sleepy at the end.
Oh, me too. It was late.
What movie?
It was a double feature
was it Dougal?
of
Dougal and Norm of the
It was
North?
Dougal and
I
Dougal 2.
wish.
Dougal. It was Evil Dead and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, that's scary.
Which by the end of it, the end of Texas Chainsaw is so eviscerating that it just made it. Afterwards, both Demi and I made noises like, oh, okay. It was a tough hang by the end of it because it was effective, but it was fun to be with people honking their little horns as reactions.
The honking is the best part.
It's so funny.
It's so funny.
Because you can't laugh. You just have to go, honk.
Yeah, and you can't cheer. You just go, and then there's just a cavalcade of people honking for all sorts of reactions. From like, I recognize this scene to this is scary to like, yay, it's over. And I'm like, okay, there's just one reaction I have.
Sometimes the honks are lonely if they can't get it started.
Was it more or less scary being in a car?
Less. I think less because I could turn down the sound if I wanted to.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't feel as like you are engrossed in the atmosphere as you are when you're in a theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I recommend it. Mission Tiki Drive-In, free ad. Just, about 30 minutes from where I'm at.
It's in Montclair, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's also the Vineland Drive-In in Vineland. That's pretty good.
Is Vineland a city?
I think so.
That's also
This
maybe a
is
bit of a
this
drive.
hyper-local content. What'd you say, Tony?
Yeah.
Oh, I just said that one is also a little bit of a drive, but not crazy. I think that's like a half hour or so away, I believe.
Yeah,
My
both
fear
about the
with-
same distance.
Yeah.
My fear with doing things like that is where do you pee if you need to pee? Like there's plenty of adventures I think of going on, and then I think, but what do I do if I need to pee? Which I always do.
Yeah, they have bathrooms, but it's like the whole... I mean, it's up to you if you feel comfortable using them.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. I went to a doctor's appointment yesterday, and they had said ahead of time, when you get there, park and text, respond to this text and write arrived, and then you'll receive a text from us that says ready when an exam room is ready. So when you get that, make your way in. So when I got the ready text, I went in thinking I would just go straight to the exam room, but there were all these people in the hallway, socially distanced, but still waiting to get in. And then in the waiting room, there were all these people distanced, but still. And it just was so anxiety inducing for me. It was so nerve wracking because I just expected it would be like when I've taken my kids to the pediatrician where you don't see another person. This was like if I want to be around this many people, it's certainly not going to be because I'm getting a pap smear.
Right. Yeah, I took my dog to a vet checkup, and it was the same thing of being like, you just wait in the car until they call you, and even then it's like sometimes there's just a crowd of people outside the hospital, and I'm just like, okay, I don't want to be around all of you guys, because it's always like people are just like at the bare level of following the rules of like having a mask, but it seems like they don't. It's just they'll put it wherever or just let it hang from their neck, and I'm like, all right, well then, what are we doing here?
Yep.
Right. And then I got in the elevator to leave, and I'm like kind of weird about elevators right now because my sister saw an epidemiologist on Facebook say she avoids elevators, so therefore that's like the CDC said it. But I get on the elevator, and then this woman and this man come on, and he's got his mask hanging below his nose. And part of me is like, I should just get off the elevator, but I didn't. He put it, but then when I looked at him, he pulled it up, but I don't know. I don't know if I should have I don't know anymore.
I was heading into my building to take the elevator, and a guy opened the door without a mask. He just said out loud, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't have my mask." And I was like, "Well, don't talk. You're too close to me. Don't." Yeah.
I don't know.
He does an impassioned monologue to you. Like, ever since I was a kid, my dad never wore a mask.
Let me blow you a kiss to make up for this.
And now is the part where I break into song.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like trying to, but I feel like there's a discrepancy between the actual risk that I took versus how I felt about it. But at the same time, I mean, of course, like not seeing any other people is safer than being among people.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We agree.
I know it's something controversial that I just said. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my own. And I'm supposed to go back next week for an ultrasound, but I'm kind of thinking about not doing it. I don't know. This is my own private hell that I'm going through. It's really not that big a deal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, I just don't know what to do. I just don't want to be around a whole bunch of people again. It makes me too scared.
Right.
So maybe I'll talk to them. You know, I just wonder if maybe there was a breakdown in how it's supposed to go. Like if maybe, because it's a big practice, so all it would take is like a few people being off schedule. Like when they say ready, really is the exam room supposed to be ready, or is it like we say ready and then you come and then you wait another half an hour? Because that's what happened.
It's like rock, paper, scissors, shoot versus rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
Like, we got to agree upon the terms before we play.
I think I just need to call them and ask, like, is there a way I could come in when you're really ready for me? Because I'm a big scaredy cat and I don't want this COVID.
Meow, meow, meow.
Yeah. You guys, I'm going to say it again. This has been really fun. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Listen
Thank
to
you.
my other podcast, Childish. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Allison Rosen. Sign up for Patreon. You'll see this video, and there's all sorts of behind-the-scenes content. And I am heavily toying, leaning toward the idea of doing a new, a weekly bonus episode on Patreon. I think I'm probably going to... If you like that idea, let me know.
I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you like what you're hearing...
Honk.
please make sure you're subscribed and download, rate, review. The all of that helps out the show so much. And also, I'm on Cameo, cameo.com/Allison Rosen. Kevin, where do we find you, and what should we look out for?
At Electrolemon. You can find me everywhere at that handle. And look out for Good Christian Fun, the podcast I host.
Wonderful. And Demi?
I'm at Kevin T. Porter on all platforms. And you can also look out for Good Christian Fun, the podcast that I believe I think it's Kevin hosts that.
Confusing
I love
universe.
If I'm not mistaken.
But Kevin, doesn't Demi have podcasts?
No.
Nope. I got nothing.
You did, right?
I did. I had a podcast called Punch Up the Jam that I left, and now Miel Brado is fully taken over and is doing a great job. So check that out.
Okay. We will. And Tony?
At Tony Thaxton, Twitter and Instagram, and my podcast, Bizarre Albums. That's
All
it.
right,
Team Tony.
guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, everyone. I love you. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen Show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Allison Rosen is your new best friend.